Hey everyone, thanks for joining me here for this lecture where we're going to be introducing the topic of contracts. This is an extremely important topic and one that has a great deal of application for business. So what we're going to be doing is exploring some of the fundamental principles of contracts and the essential elements that make them legally enforceable. Now, contracts play a vital role in business transactions as well as personal agreements, providing an essential framework for parties to exchange promises and ensure mutual obligations. So with that being said, let's get started. Now, the first thing I want to do is I want to define what a contract is. So a contract is a legally binding agreement between two or more parties that creates rights and obligations that are enforceable by law. What contracts do is they establish a mutual understanding and set the terms and conditions under which the parties agree to perform certain actions or refrain from specific behaviors. Now, contracts are the foundations of commerce, governing everything from purchasing goods and services to employment relationships, property transactions, and even whether you can actually use Apple's latest software. For a contract to be valid and enforceable, certain essential elements have to be present. So we're going to break down some of those key elements that need to be present for a contract to be both valid as well as enforceable. Now, the first element of a contract is it needs to have what we call offer and acceptance. So a contract begins with an offer made by one party to another party. The offer is intended to outline the terms and conditions of the agreement. Now, the other party must accept the offer voluntarily and without any modification for a valid contract to be formed. The second element of a contract is mutual consent. Mutual consent, also known as a meeting of the minds, is the agreement reached between the parties regarding the terms of the contract. So both parties must fully understand and willingly agree to the terms without any duress, fraud, or undue influence. The third element of a contract is what's known as consideration. Consideration refers to something of value exchanged between the parties as a result of the contract. Now, consideration could be something like money, goods, services, or even a promise to do or refrain from doing something. Now, consideration is essential to demonstrate that each party has bargained and received something of value in return. The fourth element of a contract is legal capacity. In order for a contract to be enforceable, each party involved must have the legal capacity to enter into a contract. Now, this means that the individuals that are engaging in the contract must be of sound mind, of legal age, which is typically defined as 18 years or older, and not under the influence of intoxicants or incapacitated by a mental condition of some kind. And the fifth and final element of a contract is legal purpose. Now, the purpose of a contract must be legal and not against public policy. Contracts that involve illegal activities or aim to defraud others are considered void and unenforceable by law. So now that we've explored the 5 essential elements for contracts, let's consider a couple of examples to help illustrate these elements. So imagine that you want to hire, let's say, a graphic designer to create a logo for your business. So you offer them $500 for their services, which constitutes the offer, and they accept the offer without any sort of modification, which of course demonstrates acceptance. Both parties fully understand and agree to the terms, which constitutes mutual consent, and are willing to exchange the logo design for payment. Payment, of course, reflecting the third element of a contract, which is consideration. Now, assuming that both parties have both the legal capacity and the purpose of the contract is lawful, a valid contract is formed. Now, on the other hand, if you enter into a contract with someone to engage in illegal activities or to defraud a third party, such a contract would be deemed void and unenforceable due to an illegal purpose, which is defined as the fifth element of a contract. Now, as we wrap up this video, I want to leave a few kind of just final comments. One being is that contracts are the backbone of legal relationships. They provide a framework for parties to make enforceable promises and establish obligations. And by understanding these essential elements, which include offer and acceptance, mutual consent, consideration, legal capacity, and lastly, legal purpose, we can ensure the validity as well as the enforceability of our agreements. Remember that contracts can be complex, so it's crucial to get legal advice when dealing with significant transactions or unfamiliar terms. And by respecting the principles of contracts, we can navigate agreements confidently and help protect our rights as well as obligations. All right, thanks for joining me for this lecture on contracts. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.